Hey everybody, welcome back. In the last video, we're working on this news media app for Android, and in the last video we kind of got some of the UI, the user interface set up. So we have our big image there, we have our toolbar, we have a story, it's kind of a big headline, we have some text. But in this video we're going to create a login screen. So say you only want subscribers to access your news. What we're going to do is create a login screen. So when they first open up the app, when they open this up, instead of displaying this, it's going to say, hey, you aren't signed in, please sign in. And we're going to force them to register. So we're going to do that all in this video, so let's get started. So the first thing I want to do, I'm just going to go ahead and close all this stuff. I can close all. We're inside Android Studio, and hopefully you've been following along in the past couple of videos. If not, I have a beginner series on my channel, and I also have some other series that you might like. Anyway, let's open up app. Java, let's open up COM, and we have MainActivity. So let's open this up. Now there's a lot of stuff in here we don't need. It automatically got created from Android Studio when I first opened up the project or created the project. So let's just delete all that stuff. Sorry. So we're going to delete all of that. And this MainActivity basically says, hey, whenever you open up the app, go to MainActivity. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, inside of onCreate, whenever the app opens up, we're going to check to see if the user is signed in. So let's do that. So first we're going to see this. So if, actually let's do it, we have to back up a little bit. We're going to use shared preferences to save stuff. So val shared prefs equals, I think it's like get shared preferences. Then we pass in a name, we'll call this production. And note, that is the name of the entire shared preferences, just kind of our global name. Then context.mode private. So there we are. So we have that. Now let's get our variable. So we'll do shared prefs dot get boolean, and for now we're just going to do basic authentication. In real life you'll probably want to use something from Amazon Web Services. I'm a huge AWS fan, a huge Google Cloud Platform GCP fan. I pay for DigitalOcean. There's a lot of stuff that I pay for. I'm a fan of public clouds. Both Google and Amazon are pretty good. More recently, I've been doing a lot more stuff with AWS. Anyways, so let's get back to here. So shared preferences, we'll call this is signed in, and that'll be the name. And the default value is false. So let's go ahead and assign this to a variable. We'll call this variable is signed in equals that. So we have a variable. It's going to say, hey, whenever you open up this screen, do a quick check, or actually not do the check yet, but just see if we have shared preferences, see if we have a user is signed in. And let's go ahead. Oh, yeah, and the default value is false. So say you've just opened up the app for the first time, and you just downloaded it from Google Play. It's going to say is signed in, and because it's not set yet, it's going to go to false. So let's just do some debugging here. Let's do Daniel test. We'll call this actually Daniel. We'll do is user signed in, and then we'll do $ is signed in. So we have that there. So I'm going to save it, and I'm going to go up here and run it and go back to the emulator. And we kind of did this in a previous video, and here we are. So it opened up the app again. Now I want to do is I want to come back down to logcat, and you'll see we have actually I need to clear that. I was playing around earlier, but let's get rid of that. And let's search instead for Daniel. So I'm going to save it. I'm going to run it one more time. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Didn't mean to do instant run or whatever that is. Hit that. Let's open it back up. Go back to the emulator. Then here we go. So Daniel, is user signed in? Oh, I know why that is, because I was playing around with it earlier and I used the same value there. So you're probably going to see false. But what we can do is we can actually clear that. So I'm going to go inside of News Media app info. Then I'm going to go to storage, then clear storage, hit OK. Then I'm going to go ahead and go back to here and go back to the emulator, and let's open the app back up again. So we'll open up News Media app, and it should say false. And yes, it says false. So that's what you should see. The reason it showed up true for me is because a few minutes ago I was just playing around with this, and I set is signed into true. So right now you should see false. So what are we going to do when the user is not signed in? So right now we're just coming to this screen, and we're just printing something out to the logcat there. What we really need to do is we need to redirect them to the new screen. So let's do this. if is signed in, and again, that's the variable up here. If it's signed in, we'll do this. If not is signed in, so if the user is not signed in, then we'll do login screen. We'll do that there. I'll get rid of the space there because it's bothering me. So there we go. If the user is not signed in, we need to go to the login screen. Else, we'll do user is signed in. Display news. So here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and save that, and I'm going to run it one more time, and we're going to go back to here. So let's see what happens. It opens up the screen. Let's open up Logcat and see what's going on. It says going to login screen. So good. We still, is user signed in is false, which means no. And then we have going to login screen, which is right here. So now let's actually create our login screen. So I'm going to close that, and I'm going to close that because we don't need it. And I'm going to open up the news media package. I'm going to go to new Kotlin activity, and I'll call this login activity. This one will be a class. Open up class there. And yeah, select class from there and go ahead and hit OK. And this creates the login activity. This is activity that's going to happen whenever we go to the login screen. Okay, so this needs to extend app compat activity, and there we are. So it's giving us a little warning here. It's saying it's not added to the manifest. So I'm going to click on that once and do option enter. Then we can add, I think it's alt enter on Windows and Linux, I think, but on Mac it's option enter. Add activity to manifest, and then it adds it to the manifest inside of here, and we should see it there, and there it is. So you don't need to mess with this file. Just do what I just did. Click on it, option enter, and then select add manifest. Okay, cool. So let's do this. Let's do the on create now. So on create, and there are a couple of ways to create this. I like to do it like, oops, my keyboard is messing up. Override on create. You can just start typing it, or you can just select that from right there. So what I did to do that is I think I did, let's come down to here. I did control enter on Windows. On Mac, I'm sorry, I have a Linux machine right next to me, so I'm confused. Anyway, override methods, or we can press the keyboard shortcut. So if I go back to here, see how it has the keyboard shortcut there? There it is. So you can do that. Or you can just start typing on create. Anyways, we just need to create that code. You can type it out, however you want to get to it is fine. Okay, so we need to also create a layout. So let's do this. Let's do set content view r.layout.activity login. So now it's giving us an error. It's going to say, hey, we'll open up the login activity when it enters the screen. Here it is, set content view. But we're getting an error. We haven't actually created the layout yet. So click on the red text and do option enter, and then do create resource. Then we'll go ahead and just hit OK. And here's our login screen. Now this should get rid of all the errors, but we don't actually have anything here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag in a text view that says, and I'll open up this on the right. Again, it could look like that, or it could be closed. But go ahead and open up attributes, and let's do this. The text will be, we'll call this, please sign in below. There we go. So now let's go ahead and click and drag there. Then let's just click and drag to the left, and let's just put it all the way at the bottom just because. So there it is. Now our text at the bottom. I'm going to save that, and if we run the app again, you're probably going to wonder what's going on, but we haven't actually created the link from the main activity to login activity. 0 errors, it's installing the APK, and here we are. So it still goes to here. But you should notice if we open up Logcat, it says going to login screen. So there it says going to login screen, which is coming from right there. Now we actually need to go to the login screen. So let's do this. Let's do start activity, intent, it's not that, intent. And we'll do this for the context, and then login activity, class.java like that. It should have those two there and a dot there. That's how we go to the login screen. So I'm going to save it and run it one more time, and I'll go back to the emulator, and we should see this open up. and it should go to our login screen. So it says, yeah, please, it says please log in. So we can't even read the news yet. You know, I can kill the app, I can open it back up again, but it's always going to say, hey, please sign in below. It really should say sign in above. Anyway, so here's our login screen. So let's go ahead and create the UI for it. So I'm going to open up login activity, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add, just to make this simple, let's add some text views. We'll do email. So hit text over there, and this could be closed, but you can always open it back up. Hit text, and then let's do email. Let's just drag an email in. We'll put it right there. Then we can click and drag there, click and drag there, click, drag, and let go. So now with that selected, we can kind of toggle through various modes, fixed, constraint. We want it to be full length, so we'll do that. Okay, now time for the password. So we'll do password. I'll drag in a password, left, drag, let go, top, let go, click, drag, let go. And then with that selected, again, we can kind of just toggle through different modes, and there we are. So if I go ahead and save this and run it, you should see that we can actually type out text there, but it doesn't actually do anything yet. So here we are. Here's our login screen. So ASDF, but you notice if I get rid of the text, it doesn't say what field is for what. We can provide some hints to the user. So let's select the top one, and there should be a hint somewhere. We'll do email there. Enter that adds a little hint there. And this one we'll do password. So there we are. Now I'm going to save it and run it. And this should give us a little bit of, yeah, so now we can enter our email and our password. So what we're going to do is let's go back to the login activity. Oh, we need one more thing. We need a button. So let's click on buttons. Then I'll just drag a button somewhere on the screen. Click, drag, let go, click, drag, let go, and there's our button. Now with the button selected, we want to change the text. So the text should say, here's the text, so look for text, and it should say sign in. Oops, that's not what I wanted. There we go, that's what I want. Sign in button. So I'm going to save it and run it one more time, and we should see our button there. So let's wait for this to open up, and there it is. So there's our email address, and there's our password. So what we want to do is we want to say, hey, on this login screen, whenever somebody touches that button, we want to validate their email address and password and sign them in. But in this case, what I'm going to do is, actually, let's do one more thing just to drill it in. So say anytime we open up this app, so I'll open it up one more time, you'll notice it always takes us to the login screen, always, because we aren't signed in yet. So what I want to actually do is actually sign us in. So here's the sign in button. Let's give it an ID of, we'll call it sign in button. And there we go. I gave it an ID. Let's go back into login activity and let's do this. So inside of our onCreate, let's come down here and do, and the button was sign in button, I think, sign in button dot set on click lists on click listener, and we want that right there, or you can just type it out yourself. Either way is fine. Then let's do this. Let's do if, we'll do if, I'm trying to think of how to make this simplest, how to make this really simple. So if, we'll do we didn't give ID to password. So let's go ahead and select password, and we'll type this user password. Oh yeah, we do want to do that. An ID of user. I don't usually use this layout, so I'm going to go ahead and click yes, just to make sure. Going to come down here. Everything looks good. Go back to design. Yeah, sorry about that. So we gave it an ID of user password. So now we'll do if user password equals, and we'll do it if it equals secret. That's giving us an error because dot text. What is it complaining about? ToString. There we go. So we get our user password. We get the text that's in there. We convert it to a string, and if that string equals secret, then we want to log them in. So we'll do this. We'll do Daniel. And we'll say we'll say password correct. So there we are. else we'll do Daniel, and this is just a log statement. We'll do password incorrect. So there we are. So we have that all saved. Let's go back up here and run it one more time. We'll open up the logcat. Go ahead and do that. Clear it. There's a little trash icon there we can delete it with. So here we go. So every time I hit the button, it's going to say password incorrect. So password incorrect and password incorrect. But password incorrect. So it's going to keep saying that because we don't have the correct password. So ASDF, no, that's not correct. So yeah, we're kind of seeing that, hey, it doesn't actually, it just says that. So we'll type in secret now, hit the button, and it says password correct. So where it says password correct, we want to go ahead and save the user's password to shared preferences. Then we want to redirect them back into the main activity. So let's do it this way. Actually we can copy some of this code over. So I'm going to go back over to here. I'm going to copy that line because we're still going to need it. I'm going to go back to login activity, and let's do this. So let's go ahead and hit OK there. Going to bring that down a little bit, hit the trash can icon, and let's do this. We'll do with shared prefs, and then we'll do put boolean. We'll put shared preferences dot edit. Come back to here and we'll do put boolean, and this is really important that it matches up. So whatever we called it here, which is signed in, we want to do the same thing over there, and we'll set the value to true. So it's going to say yes, the user is signed in. Now one more thing we want to do. We'll do commits there. So there we are. So it's giving us an error. What is that? That's fine right there. Okay, so we want to set is signed in to true, and after that, then what we want to do is let's do start activity and intent. We'll do this, then we'll do main activity class Java, and this should get rid of all the errors, and let's hope this works. So we have our production there, we have our is signed in. It's kind of saying, hey, we're going to save that. Is user signed in? Is user signed in? It's the default value is false. So here we're setting it to true. So it's going to say yes, it's signed in. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the play button to run it in the emulator, and I think this will work. So let's do ASDF button. What happened? Not exactly. Oh, are we doing an if statement for that? Let's debug this a little bit. So why? I'm a little bit confused why it's doing that. It instantly logged me in. So if what did I type out? Did I type out secret here? Let's just debug this together. So I probably made some silly mistakes somewhere. So oops. Let's go back into here. Let's app info. And let's go ahead and get the storage, and let's clear the storage. And yes, I want to clear the storage. So let's see what's going on here. I want to go ahead and do News Media app and open that up. And it opens up this screen. So we're going to say, hey, whenever we hit the sign in button, first we're going to test something. We're going to test. So the user password dot text dot toString, if it equals secret, then let's go ahead and clear that so we can see what's going on. So I'm going to save it, and I'm going to type out ASDF here and hit the button, and it takes us to here. So it says password incorrect. Is user signed in? True. User is signed in. Let's start with the first one. So password incorrect. So password, I know what I did. So actually I screwed this up a little bit. So we're having an if statement there right now. We're saying, hey, if the user password equals secret, then it says password is correct. Otherwise, we're going to do all of that code right there. So this code right there really needs to be up here. So I just messed up the if statement. So if the user password equals secret, then I want to do all of this. So I want to do all of that. Otherwise, I want to do password is incorrect. So here we go. So I'll make some space here so it's not so tight. So if the user password equals secret, we're going to log something to logcat. we're going to use shared preferences. We're going to get that production file, and this is only available to our app and not other apps. Then we're going to go ahead and set it is signed in to yes, true. We're going to commit, and then we're going to start up the new start activity. We're going to start main activity, which is the activity over here. So I'm going to save it, and I'm going to go ahead and run it. Actually, I should clear the shared preferences first, but this should log us in. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go ahead and clear the storage. So I'll go to app info, storage, and I'll clear that shared preferences. Then I'll open the app back up again. So news media app, and here's our login screen. So ASDF, no, it doesn't work. ASDF, we'll try Daniel. Doesn't work. Then we'll try secrets, hit the button, and here we're logged in. So we're successfully validating the user. Now, in real life, we don't want a hard code secret. We want to use something like Firebase or Amazon Web Services, AWS, or Google Cloud Platform, GCP. So we don't actually want to be hard coding this, but this is just the basics of our news media app. For now, it'll work. So hopefully you learned something, and I'll see you in the next video.